Urban legends are not just ghost stories. They are tales we share to provoke fear and make our skin crawl. But what if one of these stories were true? In the suburbs of Fairfax County, Virginia, a haunting tale emerged in the 1970s. The story of the BUNNYMAN, a figure so terrifying, so bizarre, that it continues to plague the region. But was this story real? The legend began with 2 incidents, but soon it spiraled into a tale of murder, madness, and a mystery that spread throughout Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Maryland. The story varies from town to town, but it usually involves a man in a bunny suit, an axe, and a warning to stay far away from the Colchester overpass, now known as BUNNYMAN Bridge. It was here, near this bridge, that the legend truly took root. According to the tale, if you find yourself near BUNNYMAN Bridge late at night, especially on Halloween, you may encounter a ghostly figure in a rabbit costume, an axe in hand, ready to make sure you never return. To truly understand the legend of the BUNNYMAN, we must journey back to the origins of the tale, a series of sightings that began in October 1970. The legend took root when US Air Force Academy cadet Robert Bennett and his fiancée were driving near Guinea Road in Burke, Virginia. While parked in their car, a man clad in a white suit with long bunny ears emerged from the shadows. He shouted at them for trespassing and then flung a hatchet through their car window. The couple hastily drove off, but the man vanished into the night, leaving only the hatchet behind. Just 10 days later, a security guard named Paul Phillips spotted a similar figure on the porch of an unfinished house in Kings Park West. This time, the man was dressed in a grey, black, and white bunny costume and was hacking away at a porch post with a long-handled axe. When Phillips confronted him, the BUNNYMAN warned, "You're trespassing. If you come any closer, I'll chop off your head." The police opened investigations into both incidents, but they found nothing. Despite the lack of evidence, the story didn't die. In fact, it only grew stronger. The Washington Post reported on the incident multiple times, and more than 50 people came forward claiming to have seen the BUNNYMAN. Some even say he had eaten a man's runaway cat, adding a gruesome twist to the tale. Over the years, the legend of the BUNNYMAN evolved. By the 1980s and 1990s, he had become a figure of pure terror, a crazed killer who haunted the woods, chasing down children and gutting them like the rabbits he was said to have slaughtered. But how much of this story is true and how much of it is fiction? To answer these questions, Fairfax County Public Library historian archivist Brian A. Conley spent years researching the origins of the BUNNYMAN. His findings revealed that while the gruesome murders and ghostly apparitions were pure fiction, the BUNNYMAN himself was all too real. When I began this research, I expected to find a legend that had grown out of nothing, just a story passed around to scare children. But what I found was that there were actual events that led to the creation of this legend. The reports of a man in a bunny suit attacking people with an axe were real, documented by the Fairfax County Police and reported in the Washington Post. The first incident involving the attack on Bennett and his fiancée was reported on October 19, 1970. They described the man was wearing a white suit with bunny ears, though Bennett's fiancée later insisted he was wearing a white hood or cap instead. The second incident occurred just 10 days later, when a security guard saw a similar figure at a construction site, again wielding an axe. Despite extensive investigations, the police were unable to find any concrete evidence or identify the man responsible. Without any arrests or clear evidence, the story began to grow in the minds of the public. The BUNNYMAN became a local legend, with each retelling adding more layers of fear and mystery. But as the story spread, so did the embellishments. By the late 1970s, the BUNNYMAN was no longer just a man in a costume. He was a ghost, a murderer, a vengeful spirit returning each Halloween to claim new victims. One of the most telling aspects of Conley's research was the rapid evolution of the story. Within just a few years, the tale had gone from a simple case of vandalism and threats to a full-blown horror story involving multiple murders and supernatural elements. For example, a 1999 account posted online claimed that the BUNNYMAN was a convict named Douglas J. Griffin, who had escaped from a nearby asylum and committed a series of grisly murders before being hunted down at the bridge. But none of it was true. There was no asylum, no convict named Griffin, no grisly murders. The Clifton Town Library mentioned in these stories never even existed. These fabrications were part of the natural evolution of the urban legend. Details added over time to make the story more compelling and more frightening. The legend of the Bunnyman became a staple of local folklore, especially among teenagers. It was the perfect ghost story, dark, mysterious, and just close enough to reality to be believable. And like all good urban legends, it adapted over time. By the early 2000s, the Bunnyman had become a fixture in popular culture, inspiring horror movies, merchandise, and even Halloween events. Despite Conley's research, which debunked many of the myths surrounding the Bunnyman, the legend remains alive and well. Every Halloween, curious thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts flock to the Bunnyman Bridge, hoping for a glimpse of the infamous figure. But what does the real evidence tell us about the Bunnyman? The Bunnyman legend is a fascinating case study in how urban legends form and spread. It started with a real event, something unusual and unsettling, but as the story was retold, it became something much bigger. The rapid development of Fairfax County in the 1970s, with old rural areas giving way to new suburbs, created a sense of unease and fear of the unknown. The Bunnyman became a symbol of that fear, a way for people to express their anxieties about the changes happening around them. So, was the Bunnyman real? The answer depends on how you define reality. The events of October 1970 were real. 2 documented cases of a man in a bunny suit threatening people with an axe. But the legend that grew out of those events took on a life of its own, fueled by fear, imagination, and a desire to make sense of the unsettling changes happening in Fairfax County at the time. Some stories are born from fear, others from truth. The Bunnyman may be a bit of both, but whether you believe in legend or not, one thing is certain. The Bunnyman has left an indelible mark on the landscape of urban legends, and his story will continue to haunt the imaginations of those who dare to explore the dark corners of Fairfax County. So, what do you think of the Bunnyman? Please let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this creepy video and it made you feel unsettled, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more future content. Thank you for watching.